Okay, so our next little patty paper trace is going to go with this triangle here, ABC. So I need you to trace triangle ABC, or watch me trace triangle ABC. This is A, we got B, and C. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to look at the perpendicular bisectors of every side, okay? So I can do that just by folding the patty paper. So I'm just going to, because this is patty paper trace over here, I'm going to fold C to A, make them coincide, create the midpoint, create the crease. I can see that right there is the midpoint. I'm going to make that M box. And I can see that basically, if I wanted to, I can trace that line. I think you can see it there, but oops. Alright, there we go. So we're going to trace that crease. So there's one perpendicular bisector. I'm going to put through my tick marks. And we're going to do this for every side. So I'm now going to go to the side AB. We did this in class, but I want you to notice something here on this one. Because the one we did in class was a right triangle, and this is not. So we're going to create, and get my crease better. And then I can see right now, here's the midpoint. I'm going to make that X. I'm going to do 2 tick marks. And then I'm going to do the same thing for side BC. Find its midpoint. Make the B and C coincide. And that, make that Y. We're going to do 3. Well, if I extend these lines to my midpoint, we're going to notice something that happens here. I think you kind of see it on the trace. The points will intersect. The perpendicular bisectors will intersect. See, they're intersecting right here. I'm going to make that C. Oh, I already have a C. So let's make it T. I think I have a T already, too. Let's make it... Oops, sorry. G. That'll work. Okay, so what they're trying to show you is that when all the perpendicular bisectors intersect, they intersect at a point, and that point is called the circumcenter. And you're going to have to memorize this point. We're going to see some visualizations. You're going to have a graphic organizer, but you probably need to start practicing it now. So what we're going to look at is if I'm looking at the distance, remember what we were talking about on the perpendicular bisector theorem? This point is on this perpendicular bisector. So if I find the segment from point G to A, okay, and then I go again from G to C, because A and C are endpoints of the side AC. Using our perpendicular bisector theorem, these also are going to be congruent. They're going to be equal distance. Well, this happens for every vertex. If I go from the perpendicular bisector, point on the perpendicular bisector, and go from that point, that circumcenter, to the endpoint, this is now going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I already have equal distance all around if we look at it, because we know if this is congruent, AG is congruent to GC, I know AG is also going to be congruent to GB, so that has the same tick mark. And AG, or BG, excuse me, is going to be congruent to GC. This is a property that occurs with perpendicular bisectors. I hope I didn't make this too. I'm not really paying attention to the screen. So what the circumcenter theorem basically says, the circumcenter of a triangle is equal distance. This is a key thing. It's equal distance from the vertices of the triangle, basically your corners of the triangle. And so what I'm going to have you do is this patty paper trace. We're going to start taking our patty paper trace, and we're going to tape it or trace it, cut it and paste it onto our notepad, our note packet, so we have an example of what's happening and its relationship. So I guess I can give you the other part that I was going to do on the smart board, but since this is the only page you need to know, Concurrent lines are basically three or more lines that intersect at a common point. Okay? And that point of concurrency, or we call it the point of concurrency, is the point of intersection of those three lines, or more. Now, the circumcenter is the point of concurrency of the perpendicular bisectors of a triangle. Now, I just did the symbol. So basically what I've drawn or shown you here is the circumcenter at G, and that's the point of concurrency for the intersection of the three lines. And we're showing the circumcenter theorem that we related to the theorem about points on a perpendicular bisector. All right, so there you go. That's all I need you to get done. The examples we'll talk about in class. Thanks a lot.